My name is Jamin Gurker. I'm your first friend in Alaska, and I'm an associate real estate broker in South Central Alaska. And the purpose of today's video is to really talk about how to get through the brutal winters in Alaska, because I know this is something that is definitely a concern for a lot of people who are looking at moving up here. Is they hear all the stories about how just incredibly difficult and challenging the winters in Alaska are, and they're really kind of built up to a place usually that's just not justified. I'm just going to say it. Usually most of the winters in Alaska are just not as bad as some places in the lower 48 are, like Wisconsin, Michigan. Those winters get pretty gnarly, and while there are parts of Alaska that are as or worse than those areas, for the most part in South Central Alaska, it's just not going to compare to places like that, like Michigan or Wisconsin. So we're going to be talking though, still, because some of you are coming from warmer climates like, I don't know, Florida, Texas, other places like that. And this might be your first experience with these really cold winters. And I want to make sure I give you a resource as to, what you can do to really not be miserable like your first winter that you're here. Before we get started though, do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's get into it. First thing you need to do when you are moving up here, and this might be your first winter and you're figuring out how to get through these long, cold, dark nights, is you really need to push into community. Now, there's a lot of ways you can go about doing this to really kind of build that sense of community right where you're at. One of the big ones is to kind of go join the meetup that we do offer, that I do host every month for people who have relocated up here. We've got a Facebook page for that, by the way. Link for that is in the description section down below. We go and do something fun once a month. Usually it's not anything too elaborate, just an opportunity to kind of get out, meet people, talk a little bit, and that's really about it. Stuff like that, churches, those are really nice. If you really get into hobbies, those great way to meet people. But the big thing is just push into community, whatever that looks like for you. Another thing you can do that's really going to help you during the dark winter months is getting what is known as a happy light. Now, what a happy light does is it solves SAD. Now, SAD is an acronym for Seasonal Affective Disorder, and what it means is essentially it means you get depressed during the long, dark months out of the year just because of the lack of sunlight. And you can take the vitamin D tablets and all that. Those are great. But for me, I found that getting a happy light really does help. I'm not sponsored by Lastar, Lastar, but they do make a pretty good lamp, and they have a special light on there that actually does do a pretty good job on giving your body that sense of direct sunlight, which when you're waking up in the morning, if you can get that on your skin and kind of like in your eyes first thing in the morning, then that does give your body the sense that it is daytime and it's time to start all those internal processes and to kind of get you moving psychologically. I tried this for the first time this winter, and I gotta say it was like a factory reset, because I could not get to sleep to save my life. And I started like using this light, and like the internal circadian rhythms were like suddenly just factory resetted back to where they needed to be. And so if you're someone who kind of struggles with just sleep patterns, especially with the changing amount of sunlight and everything, you might seriously look at a happy light. Lastar, Lastar, worked pretty good for me. Again, not sponsored by them, but you might want to give them a look if that's something that you're probably going to struggle with. All right, this next one should be pretty basic, but just make sure you eat a balanced diet. Once we're in kind of a winter, you might start getting kind of these depression symptoms, which it kind of creeps up on you. You just kind of wake up one morning and you feel sad. And one way to kind of stave that off is just make sure you eat a balanced diet. Don't fall into this pattern where you start getting stressed or depressed and you start eating unhealthy stuff. Try to alleviate it, and then you're putting a bunch of junk into your body and it's not helping you psychologically and everything. So just make sure you eat a good, clean, balanced, healthy diet, and that is going to help. It might not solve, like the seasonal depression and all that, but it's certainly going to help. And kind of in that same vein, do make sure that you're getting proper sleep, you're working out, and you're just taking care of basic business. That's going to help out quite a bit. All right, now I know this next one, it's a great thing to have. It's not 100% necessary, but if you have access to a dry sauna, like, use it. Okay, I can't scientifically say that it does help, but I will say that if you're someone who's more prone to like feeling like cold and like your hands get really numb when it's cold and everything, having, that solid 15-20 minutes a day where you can go into the sauna and just warm up is going to be something that you're really going to look forward to in your schedule. So if you have access to it, use it. Another thing you can do that's really going to help is really just giving yourself something to look forward to. Around the winter time when, it's just kind of dreary and dark and kind of depressing, it's a good time to start making summer plans. Or also, it's a good time to go make some kind of trip down to Arizona, Florida, Hawaii, wherever your warm destination of choice is, and just get out for a little bit, get that direct sunlight, and give yourself something to look forward to after Christmas. Because after New Year's, like, you really have nothing to look forward to in Alaska. I mean, we've got the Iditarod and Furandi and stuff like that, but other than that, there's really nothing to look forward to until summertime. So give yourself something to look forward to, whether that's just making those plans and knowing, hey, then in the summer, this is what we're doing, or go out of state altogether and just get out for a little bit. We're going to jump into all the rest of the tips here in just a little bit on what you can do to survive the Alaskan winters. Before we do, though, just wanted to make sure y'all are aware I do host a podcast called the Alaskan Journey Podcast. And in that show, I really do bring on people who've recently moved up here and give them an opportunity to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, everything they like and dislike about living in Alaska. So if you are considering making the move up here, this is a great resource for you to really figure out if this is a good area based on what other people are saying. So make sure you take advantage of that, and let's go and finish up today's video. One big thing you can do during the wintertime is to really start getting into some hobbies. Now, specifically, I'd recommend finding winter hobbies. So in the future, you're getting excited about it being winter because, oh, I get to go skiing now, snowboarding. Oh, I can't wait till, I can go snowshoeing at, this location over here. Whatever your thing is, I'd recommend making it some kind of winter specific activity. If that's just not your jam, that's fine, but just find something that you can do to keep yourself preoccupied during the winter. Also, make sure that in the wintertime, you don't allow yourself to stop doing things that you like doing. Like, for instance, if you really like taking walks, then don't sacrifice that with it being wintertime. I know it's going to be a little bit colder. Bundle up, though, because if you allow the mindset to kind of enter your mind that, oh, winter gets here and suddenly I can't do the thing that I love, you're going to absolutely hate winter. So find a way to keep doing the things that you love doing, even though it is winter. All right, this next one is going to be getting a little personal here, but cut negative people out of your life, okay? We've all got people in our lives that are kind of naturally negative people. If you're someone who kind of struggles with the winter time, you kind of struggle with a little bit of depression during the winter months, then you really need to identify who are the negative people in my life, and you don't have to completely cut them out, if they're family members and stuff like that, or really close friends, but you might want to minimize how much time you spend around that person. I know that's a little counterintuitive from what I said before, that, find community and everything, but, if you've got someone that is just constantly negative and you're already in a bad frame of mind, then that's just not going to be a good combination, and you might seriously consider weeding that person out. Now, last but not least, I'm going to say that if you are here in Alaska and you know what the signs are for yourself, like when you're starting to really struggle, be on the lookout for other people and their symptoms as well. If they're just not having as much motivation to do stuff as they normally do, if they just kind of seem almost like they're constantly kind of have like a brain fog going on, like they just have a problem with focusing, They seem like they are overcompensating. It's like, hey, this dude ain't usually this happy. Like, where's he suddenly? It feels like he's putting on a show. Be looking for those kind of signs. And if you see it, then, if you have that relationship with that person, reach out, talk to them, and see if you can get them any kind of help. Shoot, even if you don't have the relationship with them, at least have the conversation and make sure that they're fine, and provide them resources on ways that resources that are going to help them. You don't necessarily have to be the knight in shining armor, but you do need to give them the resource so they can go figure it out. But this has been my video talking about how to live in the Alaska winters. I hope it's been useful. If you lived up here for a while and you have any tips yourself, do make sure you drop those in the comment section down below, and we can make this a resource for our friends moving up to Alaska. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.